Dr. Atkinson to tell us in simple terms what the Core is, share your thoughts about the Common Core generally, and then some reasons why you feel it is good or bad for public education in North Carolina.
Good afternoon or good evening to all of you. What a pleasure it is to be here on this beautiful campus, and I thank all of you for being here. When you talk about the Common Core standards, it really has a very simple definition. And that definition is, it is a set of standards identifying what students should know and be able to do as a result of being in school from kindergarten through grade 12 in English language arts reading and mathematics. For example, in kindergarten, it says that students should be able to count to 100 by ones and by tens. In English language arts at the high school level, it says that students should be able to read classical literature and be able to interpret the author's intent. North Carolina has had a history of having a standard course of study since the Depression. And unlike some other states, we have in North Carolina been accustomed to having a North Carolina standard course of study that does identify what students should know and be able to do. Unfortunately, there have been other things piled on to the Common Core, and if you would look at that document, you'll see that it's neutral about many things. It doesn't say anything about testing, it doesn't say anything about data, it doesn't say anything other than what students should know and be able to do as a result of being in our classes. And one major difference between the old standard course of study that we had in mathematics in North Carolina since the early and mid 2000s is that it has an emphasis on how to apply the information. For example, we have been saying for decades, and as long as probably all of us have been living, that students should know how to add, multiply, subtract, divide, do fractions, percentages, decimals. The standards in mathematics also require that. But there's an additional component, and that is that students should know when to add, multiply, subtract, divide, and use fractions. And I'll just give you a very simple example. With my nephew, who periodically visits me, and when he was a little boy, he would visit and we'd go to Crabtree Valley Mall. So you see one sign in a store that says, buy one, get 50% off. In the next store, the next store adjacent to that, he would say, all items 25% off. Well, the question is, you need to form some mathematical steps to figure out if they are the best, which is the better deal, if they are the same deal, and under what circumstances would you buy those items. I consider the new standards to be better, to have fewer standards than we've had in the past. I also feel very good that our university system, our community college system, our North Carolina Chamber of Commerce all have endorsed the standards. Why? And that's very important because that is an indication that once our students, if they meet those standards, then we'll be prepared for student success at the next level, regardless of whether it's a job market or regardless of whether it is a community college, a private university, or a public university.
Thank you. Mr. Falconberry, the same question. In simple terms, what is the Common Core? Share your thoughts in general and whether or not you feel it's good or bad for public education.
Thank you. Just so we are clear, when I say we or us, I'm speaking on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor's office, so I'm not speaking for the Republicans, not speaking for Governor McCrory, just want to make sure that I'm speaking from the Lieutenant Governor's office. So there's been a lot of, I think, misinformation out there about the Lieutenant Governor's stance, and we've had standards for years, as Dr. Atkinson said, since the Great Depression. We should strive to have the highest standards in the world here in North Carolina. We are not against standards at all. The issue that we have with the Common Core is that it was created and is owned by two trade organizations. For the first time in our state history, we do not control our standards. Now, I think we're going to discuss later that we can add and do other things to that, but for the first time, we've given up that authority as a state. So while Dr. Atkinson did describe what Common Core is, we have given up that authority. We've always taught our kids how to read, write, do arithmetic, decimals, fractions. This is just a new way of doing it. So I agree with what you said as well, but that's how we're.
So you're both in agreement about the description of what the Common Core is. There is some concern on your part that this